When we examine biblical prophecy, we often encounter a mechanism known as dual fulfillment. A single text can accurately describe an immediate historical event for the ancient reader, while simultaneously mapping a broader historical trajectory. This timeline illustrates how the text of Isaiah 27 operates on two parallel tracks. For an ancient Jew reading this around 734 BC, the immediate promised reality was the impending return from Babylonian exile in 538 BC. But that exact same textual architecture dictates the modern reality of the national restoration that began in 1948 AD. By establishing these parallel tracks, a single chapter of Scripture manages to bridge a 2,500-year historical gap, unifying the ancient release from captivity with the modern return to the land. Isaiah chapter 27, verse 1 states, "In that day the Lord with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan the piercing serpent, even Leviathan that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea." In its immediate context, the sword executing this punishment represents a literal military force, the armies of the Persians and the Medes. The beasts targeted by that sword, the Leviathan and the dragon of the sea, are symbolic representations of the Babylonian Empire and its king. The Pulpit commentary points out that this imagery describes a triple judgment on the powers of darkness. The three monsters represent three historical empires that stood entirely opposed to God's people, the first being Assyria, the second being Babylon, and the third being Egypt. This initial judgment is the necessary prerequisite for everything that follows. Before the captive nation can be restored to its land, the empire holding it captive must first be dismantled. Isaiah chapter 27, verse 2 states, "In that day sing ye unto her, a vineyard of red wine." This is a song of thanksgiving. It acts as a direct theological reversal of the severe judgment passed on the nation earlier in Isaiah chapter 5, where the vineyard was abandoned to ruin. Isaiah chapter 27, verse 3 states, "I the Lord do keep it. I will water it every moment. Lest any hurt it, I will keep it night and day." Rather than abandoning the vines to wither, God breaks the curse of the drought. This represents his vigilant, continuous preservation of the remaining lineage of Judah against complete destruction. Isaiah chapter 27, verse 4 states, "Fury is not in me. Who would set the briars and thorns against me in battle? I would go through them. I would burn them together." The briars and thorns described here are the enemy forces attempting to form a dense, hostile hedge around Israel in battle. We see the typological fulfillment of this promise to burn through the briars in the succession of Arab-Israeli conflicts since 1947, from the 1948 War of Independence through the Six-Day War and the Yom Kippur War. Military engagements meant to overrun the nation have instead been brief and decisively repelled. Isaiah chapter 27, verse 5 states, "Or let him take hold of my strength, that he may make peace with me, and he shall make peace with me." The text establishes a baseline posture. Israel will make peace, not war, unless actively attacked. A modern manifestation of this principle is the Abraham Peace Accords, where diplomatic normalizations were secured through shared strength rather than armed conflict. Isaiah chapter 27, verse 6 states, "He shall cause them that come of Jacob to take root. Israel shall blossom and bud, and fill the face of the world with fruit." Here, the remnant puts down roots and prospers, both demographically and agriculturally. This prosperity extends beyond their borders, with the diaspora spreading and settling throughout massive global empires over the centuries. Collectively, verses 2 through 6 establish the parameters of national preservation. The text details exactly how the nation would survive geographic isolation and external military pressure to ultimately flourish. But survival required a severe discipline. Isaiah chapter 27, verse 7 states, "Hath he smitten him as he smote those that smote him? Or is he slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him?" This chart clarifies the distinction between Israel's punishment and the fate of their captors. While the Assyrian and Babylonian empires faced absolute extinction, God never permitted the complete annihilation of the Jewish people. A baseline remnant was always preserved. Isaiah chapter 27, verse 8 states, In measure, when it shooteth forth, thou wilt debate with it. He stayeth his rough wind in the day of the east wind. God issued a symbolic bill of divorcement for the nation's idolatry, driving them into exile. But he debated with them in measure. The judgment was intentionally stayed just short of the maximum penalty allowed by the law, which would have been complete national death. Isaiah chapter 27 verse 9 states, "By this, therefore, shall the iniquity of Jacob be purged, and this is all the fruit to take away his sin. When he maketh all the stones of the altar as chalkstones that are beaten in sunder, the groves and images shall not stand up." The Babylonian exile served to purge the physical idols and places of false worship, grinding them to dust. And history confirms the effectiveness of this discipline. After the return from Babylon, the Jewish nation permanently rejected idol worship. Isaiah chapter 27 verse 10 states, "Yet the defenced city shall be desolate, and the habitation forsaken, and left like a wilderness. There shall the calf feed, and there shall he lie down, and consume the branches thereof." This physical desolation maps cleanly to two specific periods of dispersion, initially from 606 to 538 BC, and then much later from 70 AD until the restoration of the state in 1948 AD. Isaiah chapter 27 verse 11 states, "When the boughs thereof are withered, they shall be broken off. The women come and set them on fire, for it is a people of no understanding. Therefore he that made them will not have mercy on them, and he that formed them will show them no favor." The withered branches broken off for the fire represent a period of profound suffering. The text links their lack of obedience to God's law directly to the subsequent destruction caused by famine, pestilence, and protracted war. The purging executed by God was mathematically precise. The discipline was severe enough to execute justice and clear the land, but carefully calibrated to keep the root of the nation alive for a future harvest. Isaiah chapter 27 verse 12 states, "And it shall come to pass in that day, that the Lord shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel." The text uses the agricultural metaphor of threshing grain. Jehovah strikes the stalks to separate the wheat from the chaff, pulling the Israelites individually, one by one, from the Euphrates down to the Nile. Isaiah chapter 27, verse 13 states, "And it shall come to pass in that day, that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts in the land of Egypt, and shall worship the Lord in the holy mount at Jerusalem." The mandate of the great trumpet draws directly from the book of Leviticus, where silver trumpets were blown to announce the year of Jubilee. Typologically, this points to a specific modern date, June 7, 1967, a Jubilee year. On that day, during the climax of the Six-Day War, Israeli forces recaptured the Old City. Colonel Mota Gore announced over the Army wireless, "The Temple Mount is in our hands. I repeat, the Temple Mount is in our hands." Following a prayer for the fallen, Rabbi Shlomo Goren stood among weeping soldiers at the Western Wall and physically sounded the shofar, fulfilling the ancient mandate of the Great Trumpet, calling the people to the Holy Mount. In a remarkable piece of linguistic alignment, Rabbi Goren's surname translates from Hebrew literally as threshing floor, anchoring the physical act of blowing the shofar back to the precise threshing metaphor described just one verse earlier. The structural exegesis of Isaiah 27 reveals the degree to which these verses align. It maps the ancient political release from Babylon in 538 BC directly onto the